Hi guys, welcome to Amuse's Musings. I am the host, Victoria. I am a breathwork facilitator, an actor, and the owner of A Breath of Sage. So today we're going to be talking about a very important topic to me and probably to you too if you're listening to this podcast, and that is processing trauma. Now, like I said earlier, I am not a therapist. I am not a psychiatrist, psychologist. So I'm going to be speaking from my personal lens and also what I have, not only my own life, but what I have observed in clients, research I've done, etc. So there's a lot to cover, but I think I want to start with a scenario. So let's say you are in a breathwork session and you're settled, you start doing the 3-part breath, which is what I teach, 2 inhales, 1 exhale, all through the mouth. And you're being guided by the facilitator, whether it's a group session or a one-on-one. And at first you might have a little bit of resistance to the technique, but you have your intention. There's maybe some things in your life right now that are a bit pressing. That's why you scheduled the appointment. That's why you went to the breathwork session. There's something that you're wanting to work through, whether it's a pattern that keeps coming up, feeling stuck in an area of your life, wanting to manifest something or someone. It seems to be taking longer than you feel it should, whatever it may be. So you set that intention at the top, you're doing the breath work, you're being guided by this facilitator, maybe they're coming over and they're pressing on your shoulders. And as you get to around, let's say, the 10-minute mark of the 30, we'll say it's 30 minutes of conscious connected breathing, you start to feel some emotions coming up. Maybe it's something that the facilitator said, maybe it's a song lyric that gets you, but suddenly you are transported back to a memory. And the memory comes up and it is accompanied by a feeling. So let's just say you start to feel this heaviness in your chest, or maybe you've been feeling this heaviness in your chest for a while now and you've been trying to get rid of it, and suddenly this memory pops up. And so you allow the memory, maybe at first you're like, I don't want to think about this, but then because of the safe space you're in, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna feel what's going on. I'm coming out of my head and into my body. So you start to feel into this memory, and before you know it, you're crying. You are screaming. You are having an emotional reaction to this memory. So what's happening is that this memory is most likely associated with some repressed trauma that you have from however many years ago, maybe childhood, most likely childhood. And this trauma is impacting the way you are showing up or acting today. So when you are crying or releasing, processing this emotion, maybe you're feeling tingles. It could also be a physical sensation you're experiencing. That is a sign that your body is finally completing the cycle. So trauma gets trapped in our bodies because we haven't completed the emotional cycle. Let's say you're a little kid and you start to get upset about something, and your caregiver is like, shut up, stop crying, don't do that, whatever. And so you freeze and you don't really get the chance to ever fully express this emotion, to fully feel what is happening and allow it to complete the cycle and leave your body. So you're probably thinking right now, wow, I have a lot of those. And it's true. I think when I spoke with this emotion code practitioner I work with sometimes, Elsa, and when I read the emotion code book, I believe they said on average we have around 200 trapped emotions associated with trauma in our bodies. I think it's way more than that, but that's a good base number to start with. Okay, so anyway, you are crying and you're moving through this memory, this feeling, and before you know it, you start to feel this calmness, this relief, this euphoria sometimes, like this rush of energy coming in. And on top of that, if you were experiencing any tightness in any part of your body, maybe the part that you were breathing into when this memory came up, excuse me, that is gone. It's moved. And so after the session, you'll do a little shavasana with the teacher, you'll talk about what went on. But 9 times out of 10, when you have that experience, you have processed and released the trauma associated with that memory. So we're never going to be perfect. We have a lot of layers. So it does not mean that, oh my God, I processed this, I'm never going to get mad again. I'm never going to be defensive again. I'm never going to feel resentful again. No. Because you could have multiple memories associated with a particular emotion or way of being. But in that moment, you did process and heal that particular, whatever was associated with that particular memory. And like I was saying, there's always nuances, there's layers, there's different ways our triggers can show up. But something happened there that is absolutely going to impact your life going forward. At the very least, you took away the sting that was associated with that memory. So as a test, you could come back to the memory after the session if you had this big release and see on a scale from 1 to 10 how intense it still is. So the majority of the time, it's going to be, if you had this big emotional release during the session, it's going to be below a 5 at the very least. So that's huge. And so often we don't want to feel these uncomfortable feelings. We don't want to revisit these painful memories, which is totally understandable. And we spend weeks, months, years, sometimes decades doing everything we can to manage our emotions, to avoid feeling whatever this is, to avoid completing the cycle. And so instead there's this, it's manifesting in your current life in one way or another. There's a behavior or something you're doing that is associated with this memory that's not going to heal until you feel it and process it. Where was I going with that? I don't know. Guys, please bear with me. My ADHD is like off the charts. But anyway, so yeah, it's okay, I remember now. So people will spend all of this time avoiding this when they could literally heal it in one session or even like 5 sessions, let's say. And when something is like, it's not so much about the trauma itself, it's what we made it mean when it happened. So you could have a pattern that keeps coming up, and it's like, how am I still triggered by this? How is this still, like, I thought I healed it. I thought I had this big release. But if we made it mean something, and then after this initial memory, when the initial trauma started, we had all this chain reaction of other memories and instances that happened where we continued this same behavior, we continued to react in this wounded way, then there's going to be more and more layers to breathe through and process. And that is not a bad thing. That is a good thing. It is still better to do the work than just be like, oh, fuck it. If this isn't going to heal every single thing wrong with me, then I'm not doing it. No, because let's just say, for example, you had a scarcity wound or a money wound, a money trauma, and you had been wanting to make $10,000 a month for 10 years now, and it just wasn't happening. And let's say you finally clear that block. You finally get to the root. You finally have, it's like the last 10%, you've done all this work around it, and you finally make it through for that particular block, and the money starts coming in. Well, let's say a year or so down the line, you may have this team. There are these people that you hired, or other expenses that have come up because you're up leveling your life, and you're like, okay, I actually need to make $20,000 a month now. So you go to raise your prices or reconfigure your business, add new programs, and you feel all this resistance coming up because you're at this new level. So there's going to be a new block, a new demon, a new devil that is going to pop up. And then you get to sit with that and process that and feel that. But you never would have gotten to that place if you didn't first move through this $10,000 block. Like, you would, if you just said, fuck it, I'm not doing this, you would still be down there at that place. So every single thing that you do on your healing journey, even if it feels insignificant or, you know, why do I keep coming back to this one block, whatever, I promise you that you are moving the needle. If you are doing the work, if you are feeling it in your body, if you are allowing that little you, your inner child, to finally feel and process and heal and know that they are okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be jealous. It's okay to be resentful. Just allowing yourself to know that that is okay. Talking your inner child through this, allowing your inner child to feel. When you do that, then you can, after that, from this cleared and regulated place, you can then take action in an aligned way. You're not just operating blindly in autopilot, stuck in the same patterns and triggers because you don't want to look at what's going on beneath the surface. So that is why I'm in the process of launching several programs. Most of them are more curated toward actors and artists and working through creative blocks. But I do have a program right now where I am taking a few more clients. It's called Breathe Through Blocks. And that is pretty much tailored to anyone. So that is a great option if you are interested in trauma healing and if you want to give it a shot, get started, feel your feelings. The program includes 4 sessions. You can either do 4 60-minute sessions or 4 75-minute sessions. And in between the sessions, I am available for support via Voxer or Telegram. You can text me, send me voice notes, and I will be there for you, and we can work through the blocks together. So I have the link to that in the bio. And if you are interested in healing trauma, emotional blocks, how that can help you in your career, so specifically for actors, how that can help you in your auditioning process, how that can help you to book more jobs and just have more confidence and allow your light to shine when you get rid of this stagnant energy that's bubbling beneath the surface, then you would want to check out my magnetic mapping audit. Yes, I've changed the name like 7 times, but you'll see it. It's the Calendly link in my link tree. And yeah, check that out. And we'll get on a free call. I'm offering those calls. They're 30-minute calls to just kind of learn about you and about what you've been coming up against and just see if we would be a good fit to work together. So I will include that link below as well. And I'll be offering those for free until October, so until September 30th. And I am capping the number at a certain amount of people. So reserve your spot and we can get chatting and solving the issues at hand. But anyway, I think that's all for tonight. I love you. I hope you have an amazing day or evening or whatever time it is when you're listening to this, and I will see you next time.